Okay.
They've had the meeting before here when I was in this location. It's very important for me to get this on film.
Why can't you set
I
your
have
camera-
been arrested.
why can't you set your
In
camera
fact,
back
you
there?
arrested me last time, Tony, and there was no charges filed.
Okay, Mr.
It was
Lutz.
an inappropriate arrest.
Mr. Lutz, why don't you set your camera back there and you can still film everything from right there?
That's all we've been asking.
I
is
can
to
move
out
back
of the way.
right to here is fine. Thank you.
We're back here.
You're gonna block the materials for the public?
Right, how about back there where the trash
Block
cans are?
materials for the public?
Move back right back here.
I'm not blocking anyone here. This is staff person.
Yeah, they're still
don't
people
have
too.
They're trying to move it in the way back.
Staff people are not part of the public. She doesn't have to see it. She can move out of the way. I'm public. I have a right to be here.
You've got the tripod. You need to move.
Please don't arrest me again, Tony.
We've just asked you.
I don't
was a
want to
false
ask. I don't want to
arrest
arrest
last
you.
time.
I'm just asking you to move back.
I
Another
am
10 feet.
refusing. I've
Ask
been
this
here
gentleman,
before.
He did the same thing. He just moved back out of the way.
There you go.
This gentleman had no problems with it.
And you can
We
film just
filmed
as well
everything
from
you
back
like.
there.
Why do you have a problem with me here? What is
Mr.
the
Lutz,
reason?
Mr. Lutz, why should we make an exception for you and we
Tell
don't
me
make it
the
for anyone
reason.
else?
Tell me the reason.
Because you're impeding everyone's right of way, and this is where the media stands.
There's at least 3 feet here.
Sir.
A wheelchair could get through.
So explain to me why you can't go back there.
Because I cannot see the speaker from back there. They have it way
can.
up here. No, the face is going this way.
Okay, well, unfortunately, that's the way the room.
How about if I move up here
No, you can't move up there.
so I
cannot
can
move
see
up
the
there.
speaker?
No, sir. This is for media only, so you can't do that.
Okay, well, I'm in the media area. I've got a camera. I'm media.
Do you have a credential, media credential, sir? That's what we need to see for you to be in the media area.
I'll give you my card.
I'm a witness.
Not your card.
He filmed in the same
Excuse me, ma'am.
exact
I'm trying
location.
to take care of business here, ma'am.
I am
Excuse me.
too.
Okay. That's not a media card.
I am with a nonprofit organization. It's
you
called
have a
Citizens
credential media
Oversight.
You need a credentialed media
This
to
is,
be up here.
you want to see my organization thing?
Sir, no, sir. You need a credentialed media card, please.
Here's my card. Please take it.
I don't want your card.
You asked for my credentials. Here they are.
You need a media card from the police
I need a
department.
media
That's not
credential.
credential.
You're saying I have to have a media credential to be in here and film?
No, sir.
You need to be
To
right
be
where
in this
you are.
area, to be in the media.
You're more than welcome to film
Don't
anywhere
else in the room, not blocking.
Where
or
is the
impeding.
extent of the media area? Show me the lines.
Sir, we've asked you to move back into this area.
Where is the
How
extent?
about you
From
set your
here.
camera right here?
Okay.
Right here. That way you're not blocking anyone, you're not...
You can't see the face of the people.
Yeah,
I can't see the people's
Exactly.
faces from back
Right here
here.
is where you, that's your opportunity. And people can watch it on channel 24. They get
It's filmed, it's on television, it's everything else.
Thank you.
That's all we ask. Thank you, sir.
That is ridiculous. Since he filmed exactly from that spot.
I've been here before. There was no problem.
And that
It's totally ridiculous.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's petty and it's ridiculous.
All right, so we're going to get started. This is the committee on, good morning, everybody. All right, we're going to start the meeting on the Committee on Rules, Open Government, and Intergovernmental Relations. This is January 11th, 2012. For the record, we have Mr. Faulkner, myself, and Ms. Zapp here, and welcome, Ms. Zapp. This is your first meeting of the Rules Committee, I understand. It's always exciting at the Rules Committee. So we're glad for everybody to be here, and there's a lot of different ideas that we're going to listen to today. We'll start off with non-agenda public comment. Non-agenda public comment starting with Catherine Rose.
Do you have a non-agenda public comment? Okay, you need to do it quiet.
Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine Rhodes, Planoma. And I wanted to just talk about homeless and the redevelopment agency. So just so you know, last November, or this November, I actually talked to Kathy Creswell from the State Department of Housing and Community Development. And she told me just orally that we could have always used that 80% non-housing redevelopment tax limit these last 20 years for the homeless, for homeless services, for social services. And the reason why we can't was because, of course, the city attorney's legal opinion that says that it would somehow be illegal. When I talked to Housing and Community Development, they said they were going to give me a letter in December, and then they said, let's wait until the beginning of the year. Now his development is gone. I'm still trying to get a letter from them to show you guys how we've been wrong this whole entire time. And because of the wrong legal advice that you received, a lot of people have died because they should have been able to have access to this money and they didn't. The other thing is the $26 million that is sitting in the county tax sharing payment agreement. in the bank right now, and I think because of this redevelopment thing, you also have to give them their tax return payments this year again, which is another $8 million. And 40% of that is supposed to be going to the 6 uses identified in the 1992 agreement. And so far, nobody in the city council or the county of San Diego has been enforcing this 20-year-old agreement that could be used to help the mentally ill, help the homeless, help children, provide facilities and services for them. So I'm hoping somebody goes after that money at the county and you guys actually work it, because we actually need it. Instead, they're going to be using that money for a waterfront park and a parking structure instead of what was agreed to 20 years ago. So I'd say look that up. And then the last thing is I wasn't here, I didn't come to the meeting all yesterday when they did the obligations, enforceable obligations, but I hope that you guys said that, that $144 million of missing redevelopment tax increment is still a debt that should be paid so that the poor in San Diego could actually have some justice. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker on non-agenda public comment, Dr. Eleanor Robbins, followed by a person that I can't pronounce yet.
Good morning. I have a chance to work with Rick Anthony at Zero Waste periodically, and I was telling him that I've been looking at the trash cans in Civic Center, and I realized that you don't have recycling bins in the Civic Center. And there's so many people in the Civic Center right now, probably more than you've ever seen in your entire careers here. And what I've been watching is the overflow of mixed trash. And Rick explained to me that on your mission statement, it says that recycling is something that you consider to be important. So therefore, I thought I'd bring it up to you to think about it anyway, because I recognize that you have trash recycling bins here in your building, probably in your offices too, but not out where there's all those people. So I took a couple pictures for you of the trash overflowing. You have 13 of the ones that are overflowing, and you have some other strange thing that has a little closed top on it that people put little things under. It's obviously not a trash can. So I just wanted you to think about your mission statement.
Thank you. We'll pass that around. All right, our last member of the public who would like to speak on non-agenda public comment, Ray Letts.
Hello, my name is Ray Lutz, and I'm with an organization called citizensoversight.org. It's our mission to encourage citizens to oversee public meetings like this one, city council meetings, fire boards, hospital boards, all those meetings where almost nobody ever shows up. In fact, some of them, people haven't shown up for years to watch what goes on. What happens is, over time, the meetings start to disregard the public. They start to think the public isn't important in these meetings. They start to not publish their agendas on the website a lot of times. They start to act as if the public isn't important. Justice Brandeis of the Supreme Court was quoted to say, the most important office in our democracy is that of the citizen. It's our duty to oversee what you're doing. Now this morning, I was threatened with arrest because of a position of trying to put my camera, because I'm not an official media person. Now, the public is on top of everybody. The media is not even a citizen. They don't even engage in the meeting. I'm a citizen, I'm engaging in the meeting, and I'm also documenting what goes on here. I regard the treatment that I received this morning as absurd. The fact that I was going to be arrested for putting my camera in a place where I put it before in a recent meeting with no problem. And I'm not a dangerous person. That area is out of the way. There's no other media in the media area over there. And yet, you have an attitude in this meeting, and these enforcement officers, that the public isn't to be respected if at all possible. If at all possible, we'll push you out. If at all possible, we'll only give you 3 minutes and nothing else. If at all possible, we'll hold special meetings that are not special so that you don't have public comment. It's got to stop. So I will follow this up. We're going to have an ability for citizens to use the media area if there's no media there. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to city attorney, IBA, mayor, staff, comment from them at all? All right. There are no public comments on this, and I don't see any committee comments on this issue. All right, we'll go to item number 3. Ballot measure proposal submitted by Derek and Nancy Cassidy, proposing that an ordinance be established for the purpose of providing a voluntary program of public financing for candidates in municipal elections.
Good morning,
Good morning.
President Young and members of the council. I'm Derek Cassidy, and I live at 8412 Sugarman Drive in La Jolla. And my wife Nancy and I have brought this ballot proposal forward this morning to give you an opportunity to consider the possibility of having a publicly funded election system in San Diego. And I know, Councilwoman Zaps, that I share your concerns about initiatives. They are expensive, I believe, although I don't know the exact cost of putting one on the ballot. But I'm sensitive to that as a businessman, and I know it's a lot to ask. But we do want to give you the opportunity to consider such a thing. And as you know, under such a system, you folks running for re-election would have the chance to be publicly funded if you chose that. It's a voluntary system. You can stay privately funded if you want, but you could be publicly funded if you wanted. You'd go out and get 500 signatures from members of the community, citizens, a signature and a $5 contribution, turn that into the city hall and get money for your campaign. You'd get about $75,000 for the general and about 100 and some thousand for the, 75 for the primary, about 100 and some thousand for the general. You would have a logo on the ballot pamphlet saying that you're a clean money candidate. That would be required under the law, and you'd be required under the law to be in a couple of debates in prime time on the city television channel. And privately funded candidates could be in those debates too, but you would be required to be in those debates. This system has worked in the state of Arizona and in the state of Maine. The current governor of Arizona is not publicly financed, but the one before her was. That was Janet Napolitano, who now heads our Homeland Security Department in America. I've been working on this for more than 10 years and have been a supporter of it for that long. I believe it would invigorate our local democracy to have people be able to be publicly funded. Now, we know that you folks, being on the city council already, have been able to raise money. And I don't know how you feel about your relationship with your contributors. Maybe you're totally comfortable with your contributors and maybe they don't pressure you at all for the money they gave you. So I don't have a way of knowing how you feel about your contributors and about the pressure to raise money. If you were publicly funded, that pressure would go away. I don't know if you have to think all the time about when people come before you, whether they have money, whether they're possible future contributors, or anything like that. But if you were publicly funded and somebody came before the council who had a lot of money, you could be sitting there thinking, gee, I appreciate your viewpoint. Thank you for sharing what you've brought to us today, but I'm here funded by the taxpayers. And so, as you know, when people get ready to run for office, the first thing they ask is, can you raise any money? And this would give hardworking people in the community who contribute a lot to the community but can't raise money a chance to serve on the city council. And I think it would invigorate our democracy, and I'd like to have Nancy.
I'll call the folks up. You got 3 minutes for your presentation. So,
thank you.
There's some supporters here for you that will speak. And Joan Dolan and for Jean Broom. And then after that, Martha Sullivan. Welcome.
morning, Council President Young and members of the Rules Committee. My name is Joan Dolan, and I'm here on behalf of the League of Women Voters of San Diego. Ginny Brown, who was president, was not able to be here. Ever since the Supreme Court has ruled that corporations have the same constitutional rights as people, we have seen an unprecedented amount of money coming into our elections. Citizens see their power as voters dissolving, and those with huge sources of money are now controlling our elections and our government. Movements from the Tea Party to Occupy Wall Street are different ways that citizens are demonstrating their outrage with what is happening to our government. The Supreme Court has basically told us that we need to create other means to protect our elections. Clean elections is one of the few ways that is constitutionally acceptable. It is a voluntary way for qualified candidates who are known, respected, and active members of their communities to have a chance of winning an election without the backing of big money. It is also a way to keep our elected officials responsive to their constituents rather than big donors. We need to have the help of our city council with putting this on the ballot. We need your help to allow the citizens to decide whether they want to take back control of their elections in San Diego. The League of Women Voters supports the clean election effort at the national, state, and local levels. Please help us bring back government of the people, by the people, and for the people to the city of San Diego. Thank you.
Marcus Sullivan?
I think I just said support.
Okay,
on
so
my slide.
for the record, Ms. Sullivan is in support of this concept. Mr. Stump, same thing, in support. And Ray Lutz, you want to speak on this? Okay.
Hello, Ray Lutz with Citizens Oversight. I have run for office, state assembly and U.S. Congress. I know what you have to go through to raise money and the kind of manipulation that these candidates go through to raise money. I haven't studied the San Diego office holders to see what kind of shenanigans they go through to amass their funds for an election, but frequently it's all but disgusting when you actually see what goes on. Of course, I want to see this happen. They've shown through psychological tests that if you receive a gift from someone, even if you think that you're going to be impartial, you're not. So it is not possible for you to receive these kind of contributions from constituents and still be impartial. It's just not possible. So if you're a rational thinker, you should be for this. If, on the other hand, you like the system the way it is, because you think you have a one-upmanship on the other people, because you have a lot of friends with money, and you're doing the manipulation, then of course you'd be against it. In the East County, I ran against Duncan Hunter. His campaign was taken over by Lyndon Blue, co-owner of General Atomics, who then basically ran his campaign as a means to get his contracts approved for General Atomics. He brought in the millions of dollars from the military-industrial complex and then supported candidates all over and spent almost nothing on Duncan Hunter's campaign. So this has changed from an election process that's for the people to one that is for businesses and as part of their long-range business plan. Putting it in the hands of the people through this type of a proposal, it's hard to get through because the people that are already elected are probably have their source of money and they think that that'll be a one-up versus the people that are going to be publicly funded. I think you should just support this as a new law. Why put it on the ballot? Just make it yourself. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one member of the committee that would like to speak. Ms. App, did you push the button?
I just didn't know if it would be useful. The gentleman said he didn't know how much it costs to put something on the ballot, and we have our Liz here, our city clerk, and I thought it might be useful for people to know what it costs.
Hi, Liz Malin, your city clerk. The most recent estimate from the Register of Voters to put a 5-page ballot measure on the June primary would be about $500,000.
How much was that, I'm sorry?
$500,000 for a 5-page ballot measure. What if it's a one-page ballot?
$500,000?
Oh, wait.
$500,000?
First of all, Ms. Malin has given us her information, but we won't have back and forth from the
Oh, I couldn't
audience.
hear her.
So we'll say it one more time. It will cost $500,000 to put a 5-page ballot measure on the ballot.
That is our most recent estimate from the Register of Voters, and it is an estimate.
And of course, if it was less pages, a little less money, correct?
The number of pages is a factor. It definitely affects the cost because of translation, mailing, printing costs, but there are some overhead costs that are attached to just putting a ballot measure on the ballot. So you couldn't just do a straight division by the number
So
of
it's not
pages.
like if it was 1 page, it would be 100,000.
Correct, and because of the elements that are the ballot title and summary, fiscal analysis and partial analysis, the arguments, it would be pretty impossible to have just a one-page ballot measure.
Understand.
May I ask,
Yeah,
just
Ms.
a follow-up? Is that just a 5-page, is that just a normal, typical, because there's such a volume of information that needs to go? I mean, what is, realistically, the least amount of the most simplest ballot measure you could possibly do?
My elections analyst has looked at it. If you just had very basic information, it still is a 2 to 3 page ballot measure. It would be very rare, I would think, to be less than 2 to 3 pages. And the size of ballot measures is all over the map. You have some that are obviously extremely lengthy and others that are shorter. I think the most recent 5-page ballot measure was the one associated with the deputy city attorney's item. That was a relatively straightforward item. That's an example of a typical 5-page ballot measure.
With something pretty straightforward and simple? Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Gloria.
Yeah, Mr. Young, I wanted to ask our city attorney, one of the members of the public who speak, and I share their concerns in terms of corporate personhood and the influence of non-humans in elections. Maybe that's right. I know it's the new world we're living in, right? But Ms. Lanzafama, in my experience in some of our opportunities to deal with this issue, number one, we as the city are not capable of in what way could we affect Citizens United? I mean, is there a way that we could work to undo the influence that the members of the public here are speaking of? I guess my lack of legal knowledge would, but my belief is that the Supreme Court's decision where that's concerned would make it incapable for us to pass legislation that would undermine that decision.
That is a correct statement. We can't do anything that is contrary to the Supreme Court decision. If there are other things that you want to do, we would have to look into that, but we are certainly bound by the Supreme Court decision.
And it's my understanding, and as we know, my memory's been a little short this morning, but we are currently in litigation on our existing election control ordinance, kind of to similar ends as the Citizens United case. Is that right?
That's my recollection as well. It's been a little while as well, but my recollection is we still are in court on that matter.
Thank you. And has the city attorney's office had an opportunity to review Mr. Cassidy's proposal?
No, we have not.
I appreciate getting some of that information. You know, I believe that we have fairly strict campaign finance laws here. Our limits are low comparatively at $500 with only individual contributions that are disclosable to the public. I think that that's a good way of doing it, but I do share the members of the public's concerns about the influence of corporate money, and we cannot make corporate contributions, which I think is appropriate, certainly in this national environment with corporate personhood. I understand why the individuals are here today. I want you to know this council member understands and is sympathetic with what you're advancing, but I think it's clear our city attorney is pointing out that a local elections ordinance, that our existing ones are already under attack, and we're incapable of overturning the Supreme Court decision that is brought you here today.
That would be correct. And again, I just want to clarify, to the extent any Supreme Court decision is applicable to, our local regulations.